What's going on, everybody? My name is Jacob London, and today here we are going to talk about Oscars, one of my favorite things ever. It's movies. I always enjoy listening to that. And we have a packed panel here today to talk about the Golden Globes and the Screen Actors Guilds and the nominations. They came out last week. All right. Okay. I can't. Okay. All right.
No, that was great.
I couldn't keep a straight face and do it, but then I realized no one's watching. This is all audio. But anyway, actually, it's me, guys. It's Manning. I am definitely not Jacob London, and I probably offended all of our Australian listeners and probably our New Zealand listeners. Are you offended, Malcolm, at all?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, we're good then. All right, fine. Hey, everybody. I'm Manning, and I'm your host today. Jacob is currently taking a break for the holiday season, and I'm going to rein it in as best as I can for this other edition of And the Winner Is. Today, joining me on my panel, we have Chris Doman.
What's going on, everybody? Okay, there's a lot happening as this Oscar race just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and this is going to be a very fun episode to really sink our teeth into the potential that this race holds.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Tighter and tighter. That's what she said. And we have Malcolm over here. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Just ready to talk about some Oscars, and just really excites me just as the race is heating up. So
this race is looking really interesting, especially after what happened last week with some glaring omissions and some surprise, apparently, contenders. And finally, we have Abe. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you, Manning, mate, for having me here. So ready to talk about the cricket of movie season, the Oscars.
Well, we wanted, behind the scenes, guys, we wanted to do a full-on Jacob London impression, but I failed. I couldn't keep it in because if you saw their faces, they were about to crack, and it made me crack, and I am sorry. Oh well, so you're not gonna get the Jacob London special today. I'll have to wait. All right. Anyway. Last week, the 75th annual Hunger Games, the 75th annual Golden Globes was officially announced. And surprisingly, there were some big mentions, and we're not going to go over the TV side. We're going to mainly focus on exclusively to the film side. But there were some surprising contenders in Three Billboards, The Post, Shape of Water, which led the nominations, and as well as some love for, surprisingly, All the Money in the World, which has seen its fair share of controversy these past few months. We're going to start by going with some of the big one right now, or one of the big ones, which is Best Director in the Motion Picture, where we have Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water, Martin Donahue, is that it?
Martin McDonagh.
There we go, McDonagh. Martin McDonagh, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Christopher Nolan, Dunkirk, Ridley Scott, All the Money in the World, and Steven Spielberg of The Post. We're going to go through each section really quick and give our quick thoughts about that, just to see how that turns out. But what did you guys think of the Best Director nominations that came out from the Golden Globes last Monday? Jump in. We'll start with Chris.
I'm surprised. Like, there was, in my opinion, there is one glaring omission, and that being, for me, Jordan Peele, Get Out. But again, I have to be realistic that sadly it's probably not going to happen in any form of like the big awards for this upcoming race. But fair enough. Martin McDonagh, he obviously earned it. Nolan earned it. Spielberg earned it. Del Toro, I haven't seen Shape of Water yet, but obviously earned it. Ridley Scott, though, I'm pleasantly surprised. This is not a bad thing because, again, with what he had to do with this movie, the fact they still got it out, and it's already racking up some award praise. It's kind of like I said back on our very first episode. It's the ultimate FU to Spacey and to all the other controversial people of Hollywood. So it's very interesting.
Indeed it is. Malcolm, what are your thoughts on Best Director?
I mean, for me, like at least 4 out of the 5 I haven't actually come out of New Zealand yet, so I haven't seen them to know. But but I mean, you've got like the usual big names like Spielberg, Scott, and Nolan. I expected to probably make some appearance anyway. I heard lots of good things about Shape of Water and Three Billboards, so they don't surprise me too much. Like, I mean, there isn't a director that I probably would have put on there myself in place of any one of those. So.
Yeah, and the Golden Globes, let's be honest, they love their big names there. It is if you had to pick between going to the Oscars or Golden Globes, I'm sure a lot of people enjoy going to the Golden Globes a bit more just for how fun it is. But the prestige is with the Oscars. So, Abe, any thoughts?
I think no one has mentioned the big one, that it's Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird.
Yeah.
I don't know how she didn't get there. Like, nothing against Ridley Scott, but I don't think the Hollywood Foreign Press have seen all the money in the world. So that's a little bit iffy. I think considering the Oscar race, I would take out Ridley Scott and Martin McDonagh and put Greta Gerwig and Jordan Peele. I think it's the most obvious choice because what the Oscars have been doing lately with trying to diversify the voting committee. So that's it.
Yeah, no, that is very true. The director specifically is very, very. You have Del Toro in there, but considering a lot of the great female directors, or the two big ones, Dee Reese, who did Mudbound, which is I love Mudbound. Finally saw it. If you heard me 2 weeks ago talking about it, had my predictions, I was kind of going on a hope and a prayer, and I love that film. I adore it. But anyway, moving on from Best Director, we're going to go directly into the Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. We have Jessica Chastain in Molly's Game, Sally Hawkins for Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for Three Billboards, Meryl Streep for The Post, and then, surprise, surprise, Michelle Williams for All the Money in the World. And now, apparently, they were the Hollywood Foreign Press was given a select screening specifically for them because, got to have that Golden Globe nominee on those trailers, those TV spots. But anyway, Malcolm, any thoughts upon the Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama?
I mean, one of the surprising omissions, once again, is, and I'm pretty sure is Saoirse. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but the one person who played Lady Bird in Lady Bird, anyway. I mean, we'll go into it later, but I mean, I'm surprised that she didn't get any love for.
She was categorized in musical or comedy. And as someone who's not seen Lady Bird, would you call it a comedy, Chris?
I would. It has.
Okay.
Okay. To be completely technical, it is a dramedy first and foremost, but there is enough of a comedic edge to it that it would fall more under the category side of this as opposed to the drama side.
Okay. I just want a point of clarification because Golden Globes have been notorious for category fraud. Martian, comedy. Yeah, not really. All right. Abe, what do you think of this drama section for actress?
I don't see any surprises, to be honest. I see the front runner right now for me that it's Frances McDormand and 4 other stars. That's the Golden Globe.
That is very true.
Meryl Streep for The Post. It's obvious. Michelle Williams, obvious. Jessica Chastain, obvious. Sally Hawkins, it's obvious. So it's not really. Nothing stands out of it.
Yeah, considering, I will say how tight the race is. There isn't exactly a front runner in a majority of these categories. We'll get into later through Oscar predictions. It could go anywhere at a moment's notice. But Chris, are you surprised with the Michelle Williams inclusion? And any thoughts on drama?
Not surprised in the slightest. This is exactly the 5 I would have seen in this particular category. In fact, I'll be honest, most of the nominees in most of these categories, again, no surprise whatsoever.
Agree. There are a couple little here and there, but nothing that is surprising. That is until we get to something that is not very surprising, but something that will, leave you like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But that performance by an actor in a motion picture drama. Chris, you are the better at pronouncing his name. How do you, Timothy
Chalamet.
Chalamet. I was so close. Okay.
Pretend you're saying the name Charlemagne, but you just take out the N-E.
The N-E.
Chalamet.
Chalamet. We'll never get it wrong ever again. Timothy Chalamet. Call Me by Your Name. Daniel Day-Lewis from Phantom Thread. Tom Hanks, The Post, Gary Oldman, Darkest Hour, and Denzel Washington, Roman J. Israel Esquire, a movie that I thought was dead in the water, but then I realized it's Denzel Washington. He's one of the biggest names. Not surprised. Abe, what do you think?
Also, not surprises here. I think these 5 are the people that is going to be nominated in any other award show this year. So Timothée Chalamet, everybody's talking about him in Call Me by Your Name. Daniel Day-Lewis is Daniel Day-Lewis. Tom Hanks, it's Tom Hanks, the same as Gary Oldman and Denzel Washington. So no surprises here for me.
Awesome. Only the best thoughts. Chris.
Literally no surprises. I mean, and when it comes to Denzel for Roman J. Esquire, like I have finally seen the movie, and like the film itself is fine, but his performance is why he's nominated, because he is that good in the movie. Like, there's no denying, because this is Denzel. The guy could turn in an iffy performance, and he could still probably get a nomination of some kind for it. So, and to be fair, it's not an iffy performance. It's actually very good.
Yeah, because it's when you saw the trailers, it wasn't like exactly like, oh, this could be the big thing. Then just kind of went to the wayside after a while. Glad to see he's getting a resurgence, but then again, it's Denzel Washington, because I think he should have won last year for Fences. But hey, that's just me. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, no surprises here, and I mean, if I'm to predict a winner right now, I'll probably say that it's probably going to go to Daniel Day-Lewis, because it is his final role ever. So
that is very true. He does have a lot of clout, and I'm sure the Globes would love to give him another one. And all right, we're going to quickly move on to Best Picture, Comedy or Musical. We have The Disaster Artist, Get Out, The Greatest Showman, I, Tonya, and Lady Bird. And yes, Lady Bird, I just mentioned, categorized as a comedy, but also apparently Get Out is a comedy. Do you agree with that, Chris?
Oh, yes. Look, Get Out it's first and foremost a comedy with a horror thriller suspense edge, kind of like Cabin in the Woods from 5 years ago. Like, it has a lot of those elements, but it is a comedy first and foremost. So honestly, like, I'm happy. I'm beyond happy to see it get that kind of recognition. And again, I, Tonya, same thing. Lady Bird, same thing. The Disaster Artist, which I freaking love that movie, same thing. The only one I haven't seen on this list is Greatest Showman, and while I'm a little nervous for it, I hope it's good.
Agreed. I think we can all hope that movies are good. And then, all right, Malcolm.
I mean, it's pretty much what I expected. I mean, like, Get Out in there is a little bit of a surprise, but considering the love it's gotten, I could agree with it being there. I mean, it's on my list to see, but I just haven't seen it yet.
All right, that's very true. This year in particular, Get Out has pulled what I call Mad Max Fury Road. Very different films, but a film that came out earlier this year and was critically beloved, and now it's making a resurgence as a genre-based film, and we'll see how far that goes. Abe.
Oh, why nobody of you has mentioned The Big Sick? Where's The Big Sick? That movie's amazing.
Yes.
Well, as Lady Bird, it's a dramedy. But come on, it got a SAG nomination for Best Ensemble and everything. And where's it? I mean, it's the Golden Globes. What can you expect?
It's kind of more like just have fun at the Golden Globes and put that above your TV spot. And then finally, we'll move into Best Picture Drama. Before we have a final wrap-up of the Golden Globes. Best Picture Drama, Call Me By Your Name, Dunkirk, The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I'll quickly just dive into this by saying this was not shocking whatsoever. This is as a solid 5 of the Golden Globes as you can get. I was surprised that we actually have Scott as the lone director nomination for his film for All the Money in the World. But outside of that, not really shocking. These all seem like they have a place. Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, it's not shocking. I mean, they're all pretty much like movies which have been sort of praised ever since they were released, and I mean, a couple of them like about real life situations, so it's no surprise near there either. So no surprises.
Yeah, that's true. Abe.
No surprises neither. These 5 movies seem to be the ones contending for all the awards, so no surprises. A Christopher Nolan movie, Spielberg movie. There's nothing that stands out.
That's true. And then Chris.
I will say that I'm a little surprised to see Dunkirk up here. I'm genuinely a little bit surprised, just because I thought it was going to be the movie that would, make a big splash when it comes out, but then kind of fizzle out as we got closer to award season, and would get a lot of technical recognition, but not as a film itself. But I realized then, oh wait, it's Nolan, of course.
And I think Warner Brothers is putting a lot of money into it, so
well,
that's
because
why you're saying it.
I was gonna say, well, to be fair, they've had 2 films this year that weren't gonna get that kind of recognition, so they had to get something in there, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, at least the movie's getting seen. Ridley Scott, again, props for you for having the guts to reshoot everything. But that's Ridley Scott for you. And before we move on to the Golden Globes, does anyone have any categories that they found particularly interesting or want to shout out?
I do want to give a quick shout out to Best Performance by a Supporting Actor, because if I've said it once, I'll say it again. Plummer is getting the nomination just to spite Spacey.
Yeah.
I would have disagreed. I was on record disagreeing with you happening 2 weeks ago. And after seeing this and knowing that SAG has not seen the movie yet, if BAFTA goes for Plummer, you'll expect him in my 5. If you call it, props to you, Chris. Props to you. Malcolm, any category?
I mean, for me, best animated movie is really interesting, because there's the usual ones like Coco and Boss Baby, which I would have expected to be there, but I mean, Lego Batman would have been up there, and considering with how many people were actually interested in Ferdinand as regarded by the box office this weekend, I don't know if it should be there.
Yeah. That is very true.
Fair enough.
I mean, everyone was out busy seeing Star Wars for the 3rd time, so maybe 4th, so they probably were like, oh yeah, Ferdinand, that's there. Not the best kind of marketing.
No, not at all. What are you talking about?
I saw Ferdinand 3 times. I apologize, guys. I'm lying. And then Abe, any categories?
Best motion picture, musical or comedy. No Kumail from The Big Sick again. I don't know what's wrong with the Golden Globes when you see a great movie and you don't give any love.
No, that is really true. And considering that Ansel Elgort got the Soul nomination for Baby Driver, and I love that film, but I would have given it to Kumail for The Big Sick, because that movie is phenomenal. I love that so much. But yeah, that is the Golden Globes. Overall, our thoughts is, considering that it's not too shocking, only big wrench it throws into is the showing us that all the money in the world is an actual contender this season. And I may be eating my words, and Chris probably will be saying on the mountain as, hey, called it at the beginning of the year, or this awards year, I would say. All right, and moving right along to what I think is probably infinitely more interesting of an awards show, and that is SAG, the Screen Actors Guild Awards, that took place, I believe, Wednesday morning, the nominations. I remember getting up there. It was, I think right before my final, and I needed to know what was happening. And apparently their YouTube link didn't work, and I had to find out via Twitter, and I was disappointed in that. But I rewatched it again via Facebook, and I have to say, also, shout out to Olivia Munn and Niecy Nash, the 2 people. They actually gave a really interesting and actually funny, awkward a little bit, introduction for the SAG. So I'll give them props to that, considering most people just kind of read the note and walk off. So
the prompter, and then walk off.
So they gave something, and I give them props to that. But the 24th Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards gave us with, and I will go down. Let's actually start with outstanding performance by a male actor in a supporting role. We have we have someone who might be making a big splash because he got that Golden Globe, and now he's getting SAG. We got Steve Carell in Battle of the Sexes, William Dafoe in The Florida Project, Woody Harrelson in 3 Billboards, Richard Jenkins in The Shape of Water, and Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. 3 Billboards doing a double feature. Oh, that's not. I was not expected from me. When's the last time we had 2 performances by a supporting actor or supporting actors or anywhere coming up into the conversation? That's just shocking. Chris, thoughts?
Well, actually, to answer your question, that was American Hustle. But yeah, I'm not surprised that either Harrelson or Rockwell made in. Jenkins, same thing. Defoe, again, he's gonna win every single one of these. Carell, however, is the surprise. I am genuinely surprised that he actually pulled up for both the Screen Actors Guild and the Golden Globe, because he wasn't the first person I would have imagined in this in this race, but here he is now, and he's coming up now. So I will slightly eat my words on Plummer with All the Money in the World, only because the Screen Actors Guild does actually have a decent factor in what gets the official Oscar nomination. But however, I am still feeling somewhat justified in my original opinion. But for bias sake, God, I wish they had said Patrick Stewart.
If there was any place that was going to do it, it would have been SAG. As someone who has been in both film and television, you think they would have given it to him. I was hoping for it. Alas. If he had gotten it, you might have seen him in my 5 for predictions, but alas, again. Also, no Armie Hammer, which is a big shock considering Call Me By Your Name, Love has been very, very strong, but not so with SAG. Malcolm, what are your thoughts on this for the supporting actor category?
I mean, for me, like, Patrick Stewart from Logan is probably one of the major ones that I thought would have been a SAG nomination for sure. But I mean, it's bunch of names that are pretty much what I would have expected as well. I mean, I didn't expect the double for 3 Billboards, but it was enough for me to put it on my list to see it as soon as I can. So
watch out for 3 Billboards doing some damage come Oscar night. And then Abe.
Michael Stuhlbarg for Call Me By Your Name. You guys mentioned Armie Hammer, but he too has been getting a lot of love from the awards circle, and it's surprising he's not there. And also, we're gonna talk more about it, but Call Me By Your Name only got 1 nomination. When you talk about that movie, everybody talks about the performances, and it's weird.
And yeah, that's interesting considering the critics have adored it. We might be getting to a situation where the guilds aren't as high on it as we expected them to be. But yeah, these 5 shocking in the sense of Steve Carell, because honestly, I forgot about Battle of the Sexes. I forgot that was a thing. But apparently SAG and Golden Globes didn't. So watch out for Steve Carell, because he is a beloved actor in the acting community. And then now we're going to go up to incredibly also deserving nomination, because I love Mudbound. First, outstanding performance by a female actor in a supporting role. We have Mary J. Blige, yes, in Mudbound. Hong Chau in Downsizing. Holly Hunter in The Big Sick, some Big Sick love. Allison Janney in I, Tonya, and Laurie Metcalf in Lady Bird. Malcolm, what are your thoughts on female actor in supporting role?
I mean, from what I've heard of the movies, like I, Tonya and Lady Bird, I expected to be there quite a bit. I mean, like, I haven't seen The Big Sick, but it is one I do want to see. I mean, I think one of the big surprises is probably the Hong Chau from Downsizing. Like, I did not expect that. I mean, I haven't seen it. I did not expect it to get some love. So
yeah, Downsizing, which some people thought. I know first review she was the highlight of the movie. So I'm surprised she's getting about Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice Awards, and now this. she has a shot. Oh, but Abe, should Malcolm see the big stick?
He should, because Holly Hunter, once she enters that movie, she dominates the screen with that performance, and that's my favorite performance of the year so far, actually, to mention. But the thing is, do you guys think the Academy, considering the Oscar race, is gonna accept a Netflix movie with Mary J. Blige for Mudbound?
Probably not, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you see a lot of Mudbound love in this one, and you don't know how it's gonna affect the Academy Awards, considering the actors branch is the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting seeing Mudbound there. Maybe Octavia Spencer was missing there. You can talk about.
Yeah, you make the argument.
She's been, and Han Chao. I think she just got his her Oscar nomination secure because she's nominated for the Golden Globes and SAG.
That is very true. That is very true. Although if she got BAFTA, what's his name? Daniel Bruhl for Rush, where he got everything but the Oscar that thing.
But the Oscar,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Poor guy. Poor guy. All right, but moving on to some of the more shocking categories, we're going to go into outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role. We have Judi Dench in Victoria and Abdul, Sally Hawkins in The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand in 3 Billboards, Margot Robbie in I, Tonya, and Saoirse Ronan. Is it Saoirse Ronan or Saoirse Ronan? Saoirse. I was right first time. Saoirse Ronan. Okay, Timothy Chalamet and then Saoirse Ronan. There we go. That's two for one, guys. You get on how to phonetically pronounce names. And for Lady Bird, no Meryl Streep, no Queen Streep. But I will say I was digging into this a bit more, and apparently the post was not seen by enough people for this to happen. However, because it lacks this, as we'll get into, an ensemble, this could still hurt his chances with statistic-wise. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, for leading actresses, like, there's no one I'd consider a surprise is in here, because, like, I believe all of them got a Globe nomination, but I mean, Judi Dench and Victoria and Abdul was outstanding. So I mean, it's not surprising me that she's there. Not one bit.
Judi Dench always gives solid work. Abe, your thoughts on this? Your inside thoughts?
Other than the lack of Meryl Streep, I think Judi Dench is interesting. I think she can kick Meryl out of the race. What I've heard, she's been campaigning in LA for, like, those movie parties. I don't know how they're called, where they talk, they give Q&As, and Judi Dench is doing that. And also she's nominated for the Golden Globe, and I think she can kick Meryl out of the race.
The two veteran actresses going for this fight could be interesting to watch, but I think we are setting down at least our solid 3 or 4. Although don't be surprised if we get both a Judi Dench and a Meryl Streep, and then one of these, like maybe a Saoirse Ronan or maybe a Margot Robbie, are not found Oscar morning. Don't be shocked, because this could be cutthroat. Chris.
Ditto. Absolutely ditto. Actually, to be honest, I don't know where else to go from that point. So, damn it, Manning, you took my thoughts.
I'm sorry. I'm just kind of sprinkle it here and there, so I'm not going to be droning on too long. But yeah, that was a shocking event. And actor in a leading role, which is another shocker, because no Daniel Day-Lewis. But then again, apparently doing more digging, and Phantom Thread was not seen. Apparently, it was not released yet to enough people in the voting body. Considering how large a voting body is in comparison to the Hollywood Foreign Press, I'm not surprised. But you have Timothy Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name, James Franco in The Disaster Artist, Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out, Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour, and then look who it is. Once again, Denzel Washington and Roman J. Israel Esquire. Abe, thoughts?
I'm happy for James Franco because that means we're probably gonna get Tommy Wiseau at the Oscars, and that's amazing.
Yes.
If he is not his +1, I'm gonna rage. I'm gonna be so
Oh, I
upset
don't know
for
how
that
he's
one.
not.
Also, the lack of Daniel Day-Lewis, as you said, I think Daniel Kaluuya is honestly just there for diversity's sakes, because I don't think his performance is
Ouch.
top level. He's really good. He's amazing. But I think that's Daniel Day-Lewis spot at the Oscars.
No, I would not be shocked. Chris.
Okay. Kahlua, thank God you got the nomination. This might be one of your last ones, sadly. Just because unless he somehow wins it and can just pick up more momentum from here,
Ooh.
I'm not gonna put my chickens in one basket here, sadly. And Oldman, okay. Now I'm starting to get back on the train of he might be a lock. It's not a guarantee though, because unless he wins it, if he wins the SAG, then he's got a better chance at getting that lock for the nomination. But at the moment, for me, it's coming down to Chalamet and Franco, who are in my opinion, still the confirmed locks for the nomination this year.
Mm-hmm. Agreed on that. Also, I almost forgot. Hanks was also missing. So consider this your the 7, probably the 7. Maybe we'll have an outside chance at an 8. We're not sure. But these are the 7 guys who will be fighting for that spot. Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, like Kahlua being nominated surprised me. Just because like with Hanks and Day-Lewis, like both of them are big names and their roles are ones that you would expect to be there. But I mean, just like you said, like not a lot of everybody had seen them. But I think that like Chalamet and Franco definitely locks Oscars. I think they will probably get Daniel Day-Lewis and Hanks also at the Oscars as well. So I don't know which of the other two I would knock out for both of them to be there. So.
And finally, we have a truly shocking for outstanding performance by best actor best cast in a motion picture, and that is Abe. Would you like to do a drum roll? There you go. We have The Big Sick.
Woohoo!
Finish show here. The Big Sick. We have Get Out, Lady Bird, Mudbound, yes, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. No Call Me by Your Name at all. No Shape of Water. I think that's the only big ones that could be missing, because this could be this was the shot of adrenaline The Big Sick needed, and couple that with its Critics' Choice nomination for Best Picture, and as well as Get Out. Ooh, my Best Picture lineup is looking interesting. Chris, how's yours looking?
It is looking pretty interesting. But I do have to say, though, congratulations to Big Sick, Get Out, and Mudbound, and of course Lady Bird for all getting these nominations, and they all deserve them, because and for 3 Billboards as well, because what was the biggest strength of all these films? Their casts, easily. Like, sure, they all had great directors and screenplays on them and great cinematography, but without these casts, none of these movies work. So, honestly, any one of them could win, and I'll be happy. Because frankly speaking, in my opinion, they all deserve it.
Agreed. And Abe, I know which one you would be extra happy if they won.
Yes. Since 1995, when Braveheart won Best Picture, no movie has, without a SAG ensemble nomination, has won Best Picture. So you're probably looking the Best Picture in this group. So I think that makes the race interesting. As Chris mentioned, Manning, no Shape of Water or Call Me by Your Name, which is crazy considering how much buzz the cast has been getting out of it. And yeah, I think Lady Bird has it.
Yeah, this could also be the year where the statistic is broken. We will see because this has been an absolutely crazy year so far. Because without a clear front runner, unless you count, I guess, Lady Bird, but even that doesn't feel like a pure on lock to win. Nominated, yes, but we'll see. And Malcolm.
I would say Lady Bird has this, but I mean, it's interesting because I think, like, out of these five, I think Mudbound is probably the one that's going to be least likely to get nominated at the Oscars, just because it's a Netflix movie in that. But I mean, it's really hard to say when it comes to Netflix movies and what gets allowed to be nominated at the Oscars and what doesn't. So
yeah, and Beast of No Nation, which was also a Netflix original movie or acquired by Netflix, was nominated for Best Ensemble. So, and then that translated to 0 anything at the Oscars. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mudbound disappointed. Yeah. Yes, sure, but not disappointed. But not surprised or shocked in any way. All right. Any last thoughts you guys have concerning the SAG nominations that we have for this year in particular before we move on?
Like I said, a couple surprises, especially if we're going on to the TV side, but that's not what this podcast is about.
Nope.
But I was in terms of the movie stuff. Apparently, I'm surprised that Hong Chow is getting it for Downside. Like, she just came right the hell out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, you know what? Just when you think you have all the movies figured out, you have one surprise that just shows up. So, which makes me wonder, though, for future awards, are we possibly going to see maybe Christoph Waltz or one of the other big actors from that film? It's just, we don't know.
I don't know, indeed. Final thoughts, Malcolm or Abe?
Nothing surprising. Oh yeah, a lot of surprises, but nothing.
Wait, what?
No, wait. Cut that. A lot of surprises, but yeah, it's interesting. The Best Picture rate just got interesting with those Best Ensemble nominations. Outstanding.
Sure. And Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't really have anything more to add. Just that it's pretty much like a lot of it is pretty much what I kind of expected.
All righty. All right. And with that, guys, we are moving on from our SAG nominations. We're going to see how this race begins to shape up once we get into the new year. And we get things like the PGA, the DGA, the BAFTA, Ace Eddies, all those when the guilds start to weigh in, and then the race will begin to take shape a bit more. But before we move on to our Oscar predictions, or the above-the-line categories, I want to institute a little fun section I'd like to call For Your Consideration. This is a section I want each one on the panel to pick one individual aspect of a film that they feel like has not been getting the recognition it deserves, or has not just been seen enough by people or even Oscar voters. Because we know Oscar voters listen to this little podcast. Isn't that right, guys?
Yep. Oh, yeah, of course.
Totally. So if you're listening here, I would like to begin this little quick section by just saying I want to personally start off with is a movie that has just been swept up in so much controversy, and that is Wind River, but specifically the screenplay for Wind River. And yes, it is a screenplay that is simple and basic, but it is elevated so much by specifically the screenplay by Taylor Sheridan. What Taylor has done specifically, or Sheridan in general, is craft a screenplay that sheds light on a subject that people rarely talk about, and then makes compelling characters and a very interesting story that does some really fascinating things and takes you on the edge of your seat and just sucks you into this world. And I really wish Wind River in some aspect had been getting just a bit more buzz than it has been, but that's Harvey Weinstein controversy because he's been producing it. Thankfully, Sheridan took back the rights for his film, and now it's owned by him once again. And maybe we can get enough people just to see it and see how great of a movie it is. Chris, what about you? What's For Your Consideration?
Oh, dear God. That was an excellent choice, Manning. Although I'm going to follow it up with a movie that is fighting for its dear life to still be my number one of the year, and that is, of course, Lady Bird. But I'm not here to talk about Saoirse. I'm not here to talk about Greta's script. I'm not here to talk about, Lucas Hedges, but I'm here to talk about the cinematography. Oh my God. the movie is set in between for labor the school year of 2002 to 2003. Honestly, I thought I was watching a film from 2002 and 2003 when I was watching this movie. It is so accurate from the way that it's shot, from the kind of angles that they were using, because again, a lot of angles that they were using were very prevalent in 2002 and 2003. It's literally, this is a modern day time capsule movie that captures 15 years ago so freaking perfectly. And that's one of the reasons it's barely my number one. Chances are I'm gonna watch Last Jedi one more time, then I'm gonna say that's my number one. But damn, I love this movie.
Only time will tell. Malcolm, what is for your consideration? What should the good people focus on?
Well, another one that I've got has been mired in controversy due to a certain actor, and that I'm going for Baby Driver, because the editing in that movie was superb. It's like, just to show all the quick cut paces and everything, like, and all the heists, like, it's just amazing. But due to the controversy between him and Spacey, I don't know if it's going to get nominated for anything at the Oscars now. So, and that's a shame, because it was really good.
No, that editing is phenomenal. Alas, it came out too early, and this entire controversy has just been taking over, sadly, because Baby Driver is an excellent film. The editing is phenomenal. It's been a few critics citations, but that's about it. Abe, what is for your consideration?
Well, I want to talk about a performance. The best actor race tag this year, but I was amazed when I saw this performance. It's Kenneth Branagh in Murder on the Orient Express. I think he, as Hercule Poirot, I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest.
Hercule Poirot.
That shit. But wait, I was seeing it. I cannot believe, like, it's over the top, but he has a great performance that he captures the whole screen every time he is on it. He dominates. He carries the whole movie on his shoulders, and it's amazing.
He does indeed carry that film, and that is probably my favorite part of the film, and a film that has a few issues. Regardless of that, we're going to get into our last section of the podcast, and that is our Oscar predictions. And we are going to go through the right now. We are going to start off with supporting actress. Now, I'm going to give off my 5, and then I want each of you to give off your 5, and then we can have a quick few words regarding them. But right now, with everything that has been going on, my supporting actress race looks like, in no particular order, Laurie Metcalf, Allison Janney, Octavia Spencer, Mary J. Blige, and Hong Chau, which, if you look at it, is going to be actually an incredibly diverse supporting actress lineup, and I'm excited for that. If it translates out, I'm expecting someone to drop off. Chris, what's your 5?
I have 4 of those. I have Laurie Metcalf, Allison Janney, Mary J. Blige, Octavia Spencer, and Holly Hunter for The Big Sick. You're welcome, Abe.
That is not surprising. Abe, what is your response to that?
I have the exact same of you, except one. For supporting actors, I have Laurie Metcalf, Allison Janney, Holly Hunter, Octavia Spencer, and Hong Chau. I don't think the Academy is going to give anything to Netflix, even though that performance can be great. But sadly, it's how the film industry is working right now. Probably in 5 years, I bet you Netflix probably going to have 2 Best Picture nominees in the race, but
maybe even a winner.
Yeah, maybe.
One can hope. I'm holding out faith for Mudbound until I am sadly proven wrong. Malcolm, what are your 5?
Yeah, I've pretty much got the same as Abe. I've got Hong Chau, Allison Janney, Laurie Metcalf. I've got Octavia Spencer, and I've got Holly Hunter in there as well.
All right. Okay. No one. Am I the only person with faith in Mudbound? I mean, I know Chris is, but Chris, is my faith being misplaced?
No. Okay. In theory, no. In execution, probably. Sorry, Manning.
Probably. It's okay. I'm going to hold out hope as long as I can because I love that film. Moving on to Best Supporting Actor, which now is gotten really interesting with the last week that occurred. Right now, I have William Dafoe, obviously, or Willem Dafoe, not William, it's Willem Dafoe, Sam Rockwell. I still have Armie Hammer and Richard Jenkins, and now I'm putting in Woody Harrelson because I think Three Billboards has actually gotten the resurgence it needed, and the actors branch specifically, and we might get, for the Oscars, our first double supporting actor nom since Bugsy or something? I could be very wrong, but that's probably what I'm thinking right now. Malcolm, what are your 5?
I've got Willem Dafoe, Armie Hammer, and Richard Jenkins. Then I've got Sam Rockwell, and I'm thinking that Steve Carell will probably slip in there.
That makes a lot of sense. That is not crazy at all. And Abe?
I have 6, but I'm going to tell you 5 only. I think William Dafoe, Richard Jenkins from The Shape of Water, Sam Rockwell. And I'm deciding on this one, Armie Hammer or Michael Stuhlbarg for Call Me by Your Name. You know, the boats can split, and maybe none of them can be there. And lastly, Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, just to slap Kevin Spacey again.
That slap. And do you have that slap as well, Chris?
Actually, I don't. I have Dafoe, Rockwell, Jenkins, Carell. And now this last pick is only because it was just announced that Disney is actually going to push for both this actor and another actress for Oscar potential. I'm again, this is bias. I have to put one in there.
It's okay.
Mark freaking Hamill. Come on! Just one time can a Star Wars actor get nominated outside of Alec Guinness. Please. And I'm sorry, but no, this is the film. You do that.
Unless, of course, not gonna get into spoilers. No, never mind. We're not gonna go into spoilers now. Never mind. I was about to say something very spoilery. No. Okay. All right. That is our 5 for each of our 5. We're just getting really close. We're starting to let what the fans be closer. We'll figure out exactly who those are, but then we're going to quickly go into Best Adapted Screenplay. Right now, I have The Disaster Artist, Call Me by Your Name, Mudbound, Molly's Game because they love Aaron Sorkin, and then my surprise, because I also have it in makeup and hairstyling, Wonder, because that has been getting some excellent reviews, and I feel like the Academy could like that just enough to push it over the edge as that 5th spot. Abe, what do you got?
I have Call Me by Your Name, Molly's Game because Aaron Sorkin, The Disaster Artist, All the Money in the World because I couldn't find another movie, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I think on the script side, I think the screenplay side, Wonder Woman is gonna get some love.
Huh.
Potentially.
Interesting. That is an interesting 5 you have there. And Chris.
Call Me by Your Name, Mudbound, Molly's Game, The Disaster Artist, and Last Flag Flying, actually. So that one has gotten some nominations, and while it never got a win, I think it actually, if it pulls through with the WGA, it gets the nomination.
Yeah. It just depends on how much they like Richard Linklater that day. And then finally, Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm going to have a very interesting selection here, but I've got disaster. I've got Disaster Artist. It, Logan, Wonder Woman, and Call Me by Your Name.
Wait, what were those again?
Disaster Artist, It, Logan, Wonder Woman, and Call Me by Your Name.
I believe they're doing an Oscar campaign for it. I don't know which categories, but they are sending screenings for screeners.
See, I would not have been shocked if it had maybe have gotten a SAG ensemble, because that's a pretty great ensemble. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a great ensemble.
Yeah,
it's a great ensemble. and I'm not a horror guy, but that movie was excellent. But we'll see how that turns out because yeah, Malcolm, you win for most eclectic choice in adapted screenplay. Yes, you do. And watch Malcolm get the most right and by some strange twist of fate, and then we're like, how? But anyway, and of course we have best original screenplay, which I have for 3 Billboards, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, Get Out, and The Post. What do you got, Abe?
Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, The Post, and 3 Billboards. No surprise.
Oh, okay, so I'm just
I
going
think we
Phantom
only
Thread
it's around
because they like Paul Thomas Anderson. He got nominated for Inherent Vice, and
did he? Oh yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, I guess they like anything he does. So anyway, Malcolm.
I've got Shape of Water, Lady Bird, 3 Billboards. I've actually got Coco in there.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know if
they like to.
I've also got Phantom Thread.
They like to nominate picture script. They nominated Toy Story, Inside Out, and Toy Story Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised.
Maybe you're onto something.
No, because it's probably going to get an Oscar nom for animated feature, obviously, and then also probably for original song. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. It needs that original song. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I was about to say, if Remember Me doesn't win, I will be shocked.
Which yes,
that is the better version.
All right, we're now going to stop the podcast, and Abe will serenade us with the song. All right, everyone, stop. Abe, just sing for us now.
No me sé la
Just kidding. We're moving on. We are moving on. Okay, all righty. And in Best Actress, moving on, I have Saoirse Ronan, Meryl Streep, Sally Hawkins, Frances McDormand, and Margot Robbie. I mean, it's not shocking, although expect the Judi Dench maybe to pop up in there. Might get Jessica Chastain because I don't know. We might just. But these might be your 5. Do you agree, Malcolm?
Yeah. So like Best Actress, I've got Judi Dench and Meryl Streep for sure. Then I've got Margot Robbie, Saoirse Ronan. I've probably butchered that name.
So, did he butcher the name, Chris?
Sort of. Just Saoirse.
Saoirse Ronan.
Was that 4 or 5?
I'm pretty sure that was. Did you say Frances McDormand and Sally Hawkins?
Not yet. I was going to say Frances McDormand. That's what.
Okay. All right. That's why I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Cool beans. And then, Chris, what you got?
I've got Margot Robbie, Saoirse Ronan, Frances McDormand, Sally Hawkins, and the problem is, right now these 2 are interchangeable, and that is, of course, Meryl Streep and Judi Dench. It's one of them. It's not both.
That is the hot take here, guys. It's one of them or not both. Chris said it here first. All right. And then we finally have Abe. What do you got?
I have the exact same list as Chris, and I agree with him about Meryl Streep and Judi Dench. The Academy likes their young blonde woman. If you see the last, I don't know, 20 Best Actor winners, Best Actress winners, a lot of them are young women. So
yeah,
that's it.
You are not wrong, sir. You are not wrong.
Yep.
Alas, you're not wrong. Anyway, and then finally moving on to Best Actor, where we have Gary Oldman for me, Daniel Day-Lewis, James Franco, Tom Hanks, and Timothy Chalamet. This might be your 5 here, although this may not be because Chris, what do you have?
Yeah, ditto, exact.
Okay.
Now, to be honest, the first one of these 5 to go, in my opinion, is Oldman. Well, because
you aren't wrong.
Exactly. He has not won a single thing. He has not won a single award yet. Yeah, he's been nominated a crap ton of times this year, and chances are he might still get the nomination for the Oscar. But if he doesn't get like a more like at least a win, you can forget about the lock. He might not even make it.
Yeah, one of the also things that's interesting is that Darkest Hour, I don't have it getting in anything else outside of makeup and
Costuming.
Costume. And costuming I have. And then but above the line awards, outside of Oldman, I got nothing. Darkest Hour needs to start showing up at the Guild or something because it is currently on life support.
It's
surprisingly, because you think it would be a movie.
It's probably going to show up at the BAFTA because they love your right on the BAFTA.
You're right.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that may give it a shot of adrenaline for the Oscar race for Oldman.
Maybe. And what do you have, Abe?
I have actor, right? I have the exact same list as Chris and you. Timothée Chalamet,
wow.
Day-Lewis. Yeah, we're all the same on the same page. But I think if someone goes, it's Tom Hanks. Why? Because they haven't nominated Tom Hanks since Castaway in 2001. No Bridge of Spies, no, Captain Phillips, and
Sully.
So
Saving Mr. Banks. Yeah. They don't. They hate Tom Hanks. That is exactly the message.
They gave it two.
No.
They gave it 2 2 years in a row, and they say, "Fuck you. You have enough. Go away.
You have enough. Go away." Well, we'll give the third to Daniel Day-Lewis first before we give it to you, which is gonna be salt on the wound. Anyway, and then Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, there's only really 7 names that it can be. But I've got James Franco, Daniel Day-Lewis, Tom Hanks, Timothée Chalamet, and Denzel Washington.
Woohoo! Nice job, Malcolm.
Hey, we did it, guys. We can now all pronounce Timothée Chalamet's name. So that is if you get anything from this podcast, let this be the one thing you may receive. All right, and finally, Best Director. Before we get to Best Picture, right now I have Lady Bird for Greta Gerwig, Steven Spielberg for The Post, Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water, Nolan for Dunkirk, and then Martin McDonagh. Is that it?
McDonagh.
McDonagh. Man, I am not good with pronouncing names. Jeez Louise. 3 Billboards. Outside of my terrible pronunciation of names, Chris, what does your list look like?
Ditto. We're starting to get some commonality. It's like,
yes,
because look, these are the obvious choices. And I would say for 4 of them, it's the right one. Now the 2 who I think could drop off are Del Toro and Nolan.
Yeah,
it could be either one of them, but literally that might be it. Just one of them drops off.
No way, Jose.
Oh, no way, you say. How is that? What do you see, Abe?
I see Guillermo del Toro. I think Guillermo del Toro is a lock. Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, Jordan Peele. I have Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, you're going on that. Awesome. Interesting. All right. And then Malcolm.
I've got Del Toro, Ridley Scott, Martin McDonagh, Greta Gerwig, and Christopher Nolan.
All right. Any reason why you have Ridley Scott in particular? What's your reasoning behind that?
I just think that he seems to pop up quite a bit. I mean, I don't think if he gets nominated, I don't think he'll win. I think he's interchangeable. I mean, we'll probably be able to get a clearer selection of where the director's thing will come in. The Directors Guild Awards come out soonish, maybe. I don't know. I can't.
Next year, early next year. January.
Yeah.
It's January. All right, Abe, you were saying something?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with Ridley Scott because in 2015 he was not nominated for The Martian, and and he hasn't win an Oscar, and it's crazy that
He
Ridley Scott.
hasn't.
Yeah, he lost it
They're gonna.
Gladiator to Steven Soderbergh, and he may be pop out and maybe win it. Wouldn't be crazy.
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to really love all the money in the world.
Yeah.
But that all depends on like how initial critical reception is, and if it does anything, going up to it. But we will see. We will see. And then finally, the pièce de résistance. We have Best Picture, and in Best Picture, I have Lady Bird, The Post, Shape of Water, Three Billboards, Dunkirk, Call Me by Your Name, The Florida Project, and I have at 9. I can't believe I'm doing this. I have Get Out. I did it, and I decided, you know what? It's gotten so much, it's probably going to get it now. I eat my words 2 weeks ago about it not getting in because it's a quote-unquote genre comedy. It's getting in. Malcolm, what does yours look like?
Yeah, I mean, like I've got Disaster Artist on there. I've got Dunkirk, The Shape of Water, Call Me by Your Name, Three Billboards, Get Out, I Told You, and Lady Bird. And just as an outside shot, I think Greatest Showman might make it in.
They're gonna have to really love that. Chris, is this where we differ finally?
A little bit.
Okay.
Not much though. Because I have Lady Bird, Three Billboards, Florida Project, Shape of Water, Mudbound, Get Out, Phantom Thread, Call Me by Your Name, Dunkirk, and The Post.
Oh, you actually went on Mudbound and I didn't. I feel a terrible fan of.
Well, okay. Again, this is just prediction. This is
Yes, you're right.
As we get closer, I will most likely change my mind and not regret it, but we never know.
If Mudbound can actually start doing a bit more than just what we have now and maybe win some things, I might put it back in, but I'm right scared now with that Netflix curse. I'm putting all my bets in the screenplay and Mary J. Blige, but again, we shall see. All right, and give me your final 10 predictions, or 9 or 8, however you think are going to get nominated for Best Picture.
I have 8. Lady Bird, 3 Billboards, The Shape of Water, Call Me by Your Name, Get Out, Dunkirk, The Post, and The Big Sick. Because that SAG nomination, Lady, it's going to push it for the big award on the Oscars.
You think so?
Yeah.
Think it's going to be is it not just you like maybe hoping, or do you actually really believe?
No, I really think so.
All right, awesome. Okay. Either way, this is prediction, so you know what? It's just 4 guys talking about Oscars. You know what? It's just a lot of fun. That's all we're having. All right. All right, Abe, give me your no guts, no glory prediction, your big nomination that could happen come Oscar morning.
As we mentioned before, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ridley Scott nominated because of what he did. The Oscars are a really political show, believe it or not. That's why the last year when you saw The Southman winning best foreign film.
Yep, foreign language.
Yeah, foreign language. So don't be surprised if you see that political message from the Academy by nominating Ridley Scott because of what he did against the monsters in the industry. So that's my pick.
And again, all those, oh boy, I can't wait to see exactly how this shapes up when we get into next year with the new year, and to see how the Oscar race shapes up then, because this is when we are now full on into the races with Golden Globes and SAG predictions, because these will be full on entertainers. Golden Globes more so just to test the waters to see what people are talking about, but SAG will let us know exactly what the Academy is thinking. I think this is doing perfectly. Chris, what do you have?
Oh, God.
What's the nomination people are going to be like, you know what, this is going to happen?
My no guts, no glory is either Hamill or Stewart for Best Supporting Actor.
Ooh. That would be pretty good. Pretty great. And Malcolm.
Well, for me, like my no guts or no glory is Hamill getting a nomination for sure. But I mean, the other one is either Logan or Wonder Woman getting into Best Picture. I mean, both of them have been really talked up, but they came out too early in the year, so it's going to be interesting if they can get one.
All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun, but I have to say goodbye. We all have to say goodbye. This is the end of the podcast. Before we go, Chris, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at my band Last Shot at Redemption at LSAR Band MN. You guys can follow Take 3 Productions on Twitter and Instagram at Take 3 Trivia. You guys can follow my other channel, the Worldwide Movie Games Network, on Twitter at WWMGN Take 3. And of course, please check out the Worldwide Movie Games Network, where Malcolm and Manning have a big team match coming up, and I make my debut in singles. I've got a little grudge match happening. Let's see what happens there. And also, you can find me on Letterboxd and Stardust at Chris Take 3.
Knock him dead, Chris. You're going to knock him dead. All right, Malcolm, my good partner. Where can the people find you?
You can find me all over videos on Take 3 and also all over the Real Life Movie Games Network, and watch mine and Manning match against Nazgul when it comes up. So.
Yes, Nazgul, boo, hiss, boo. All right, and finally, Abe, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AbrahamF25 and on Letterboxd at AbrahamFlores25.
Fantastic. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter. If I ever do want to show up on Twitter sometimes and tweet something, you can find me at Cine_Man. That is CINE_MANN. Like my name's Manning and the cinema. You get it? Got it? Good. And you also find me on Take 3 Productions at here at And the Winner Is, as well as various other things like Nights of the Podcast or the live show or wherever you can find me on the internet. But anyway, this is Manning from Take 3 Productions. And I want to say, everybody, have a great Oscar season.